I give you the top 5 ADPs inside the top 25 walking into early. We're not even March 1 yet, but we're walking closer and closer to March 1 ADP, and it's getting pretty sticky. This ADP is looking pretty solid. We have thousands and thousands of underdog drafts, promo code Smitty, link in description of the video. You can be a part of building this ADP on underdog and get in some drafts, but this ADP is looking pretty solid. And these are my favorite 5 plays walking into early 2026 based on their average cost of entry, and I'm going to break each one of them down. The Fantasy Football Show Graveyard Edition begins right now. I think we got some audio problems. Can anybody hear any music? I don't think we got any music. I don't think we got any sort of sound effects. I don't think we got anything, but that's all right. We're going to roll with it because that's how Dad did it. It's how America does it. It's worked out pretty well so far. Let's see if our standing ovation audio is at least there. Nothing? Nothing? Let me see if I can change anything. Let's see. Nothing. I got nothing. Oh well. This is gonna be a stripped down version of the Fantasy Football Show. Wow. Okay. Well, that's right. Jahmyr Gibbs is my number one choice of players to talk about right now inside the top 25 walking into 2026 with the early ADP data. I got bad news. I think that means the phone lines won't be working either. Let me see if I can play a voicemail and see if one of those will play. I don't think they will. Let me go over to the original Denny OG voicemail and see if this will play. If this won't play, we're cooked. Oh, actually, I can use the portable speaker, so we can open up phone lines. I'm pretty sure they'll work because I'll just use this mic to pick that up. So we're fine. Jahmyr Gibbs is my favorite pick. Just glancing down ADPs, and you don't stop far. This is number 3 overall. Why do I love Jahmyr Gibbs number 3 overall? Because I believe he is probably the safest. I've gone back and forth on Bijan, Gibbs, Bijan. I just think he's the safest player in fantasy football 2026. I think you're getting somebody that's going to score 15 plus touchdowns, maybe closer to 18 to 20. You're getting somebody that's going to rush for or combine 2,000 total yards. You're getting somebody that could lead all running backs in receptions and reception work. You're getting a Petzing offensive coordinator to come over from Arizona who just turned Brissett and Michael Wilson and McBride into monsters. And you might say to yourself, well, Smitty, he doesn't do this or he doesn't do that. You don't know what Petzing's going to do when he's handed a receiving weapon like Jahmyr Gibbs. And Petzing deserves more damn respect for what he did given the restrictions he had in Arizona and what he did with Jacoby Brissett. I love this situation. At first, I know a lot of people were a little bit apprehensive over a Drew Petzing situation at the offensive coordinator position, one that had failed last year, one that had made Gibbs sporadic last year. This is the most explosive player in the National Football League. Jahmyr Gibbs is the fastest player in the National Football League. Ask around the league. Multiple players during the NFL Super Bowl festivities were interviewed. Who's the fastest player? Who's the fastest player? And time again, the answer was Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is the most electric player in the National Football League. This is a guy that has the most explosive runs that you could find in the National Football League. And certain data that you look at when you talk about explosive runs, you talk about impossible runs, any data that's calculating runs that exceed the expectation, 5-yard run, 3-yard run that he takes 67 yards, 2-yard run, expected yards on that carry, he takes it 57 yards. Miles per hour data, this guy's in the top, I think inside the top 12 twice on the two runs that were the fastest runs in the National Football League in 2025. He's always in all of that breakaway data. He's always atop the league in every single one of those calculations. He's consistently bringing you a balance and ability to navigate any sort of game script. The team's defenses can't game script against him. The game plans for the offensive game plans can't game script him out. He'll literally catch 100 yards and a touchdown. If they need to throw from behind, he'll literally run the ball and get you a combined 150 and 1 or 2 touchdowns on the ground if there's a lead and they're protecting that lead by running the damn ball. I think this is the best player in fantasy football 2026. Jahmyr Gibbs is the one player, if you ask me, who's the one player you want to own. I love Bijan. I'm worried a little bit about Bijan's situation more so than I am Gibbs whatsoever. Bijan has a incompetent head coach that's got to navigate some muddy waters at the quarterback position yet again. Stefanski had major problems in Cleveland recognizing the situation and knowing what time it was at the quarterback position. Penix Jr. is on track to be ready for week 1, but there's still a lot of ambiguity there. So for me, Stefanski's a problem. Now, Tommy Rees is calling plays. Thank God. Because if Stefanski were calling plays, we'd have a major problem on our hands. I don't mind Tommy Rees. I actually kind of am intrigued. Not as much as I am Petsing, but I'm intrigued by Tommy Rees because I saw him do pretty good with Shedeur when Shedeur was set up to fail by his head coach Stefanski. And I really believe that Tommy Rees can get the most out of Bijan in spots. I am a little bit worried and concerned about what Stefanski can do to this team overall. You think back to Arthur Smith and you just start getting PTSD with what this looks like and what's the red zone opportunities this upcoming season. How is this all going to shake out? Tommy Rees and Stefanski didn't throw to the running backs at all last year. And so all that stuff concerns you a little bit. Just a little bit. It makes Bijan not number 1. It just makes him number 2 or number 3 for me overall if I'm choosing a pecking order of this thing. The pecking order for me is Jahmyr Gibbs. If you want to go wide receiver, I'm plenty fine with Puka Nacua 1. I'm plenty fine with Jamar Chase 1. I'm plenty fine with JSN going number 1. I'm fine with any one of those 3 wide receivers going number 1 overall. If you're in an environment where you believe the running backs will fall, the wide receivers won't. But push comes to shove, my number 1 overall player in 2026 fantasy football is Jahmyr Gibbs. And I would press a button and do a Smitty approve, but you wouldn't hear any audio anyway. I wonder if there's a way. I don't think I can do anything to reset this. Unless I have to restart the whole system, so we can't do that. Appreciate everybody here. File on in, hit that thumb up button, hit that subscribe button if you're new. My Rumblers are watching as well. I appreciate all my Rumblers. I got Aldi and New Age Outlaw and Marv. Marv, welcome if you're new, Marv. Appreciate you being here. I don't recognize you in the Rumble chat, and if you've been here quite a bit, I apologize, but very damn glad to have you. Hopefully you become one of the loyal Rumble loyalists, and we're live on Rumble 1 to 2 times a day. We're live on YouTube 2 to 5 times a day. So appreciate you being here. Gibbs, my number 1 favorite ADP choice if we're combing through this ADP. Jeanty's the next up. You can see Jeanty down at the bottom left. This is a guy that I believe will in at the end of the season earn top 5 overall value. And I'm not saying you draft him there. I'm not saying you expect that. Kind of can't expect that, based on last year and everything that is kind of evolving over there in LV. The most lazy take you're going to hear is from somebody that says, but the offensive line, until they fix the offensive line, that's somebody that doesn't even they're so far behind where we're at. Like, I don't even entertain that. When someone says they can't until they fix their offensive line, that's like saying you can't go outside and breathe tomorrow if you don't take oxygen into your lungs. If there isn't oxygen out there when you step outside your house tomorrow, you won't be able to breathe. We understand the stakes. We understand that Kubiak's going to fix all of that. We understand that the coaching staff and just coaching up the offensive line is going to do it numbers, let alone you can fix an offensive line very easily in an offseason with a good staff and an amazing head coach like Kubiak. Kubiak's going to take care of business and have this offensive line humming by week 1. I can almost guarantee you it will look night and day, let alone be top 12 offensive line production at the end of the year. When we measure it all out, they will be top 12, the Raiders offensive line. Just wait. Not only does Kubiak, the coaching staff, coaching it up, getting the right players in-house, fix the offensive line to the tune of being 15 to 18, you're gonna bring in Fernando Mendoza who's going to have a quick release and move the football, matriculate the football down the field, get Brock Bowers stretching it, which will in turn have Jeanty cooking. And when Jeanty's cooking, Brock Bowers is cooking. When Jeanty's cooking, Mendoza's cooking. When Mendoza's cooking, Bowers is cooking. When the offense is moving, the defense is rested. When the offense comes off the field, the defense helps the offense with field position. It's a cascading reciprocation back and forth, and it grows exponentially. This is an amazing situation that is brewing right before your very eyes. And this guy, Ashton Jeanty, whether you want to talk about him busting last year as a rookie, the guy was still a top 12 running back. He was 12 or 13, depending, 11, 12, or 13, depending on your scoring. And he had some of the worst situation you could have, situations and situation overall. Third in broken missed tackles, fifth in missed tackles forced, top 10 in yards after contact, seventh in targets, third in receiving touchdowns. Raiders were the 32nd offensive line. That's just 2026. It's supposed to be 2025. Let me switch that real quick. He had the 32nd worst offensive line in 2025, and yet he had all of these numbers. And the fact that he still had 10 total touchdowns is remarkable. You know, it truly is. This 215-pound monster, even though he's smaller at 5'9", he's built like a truck. And to be third, seventh, third, top 10, fifth in all of these numbers, yet had an offensive line that ranked 32nd in the league. What do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen when he gets a top 12 producing offensive line? He's going to the moon. And for anybody that's not here for it, you're going to have a very, very, very sad little season when you watch Jeanty earn this Jupiter man value and take people to the promised land. And the fact that he's going at the end of round number 1 so you can get him at the 12-13 turn very easily, that is steel territory. You're taking JJ and Jeanty. You're taking, if you want McBride and Jeanty, if you want to take Hampton and Jeanty, go RB. You want to grab a wide receiver, you might see St. Brown linger there. You'll get Drake London. You'll get Malik Neighbors. You can go running back, wide receiver, all you want. Jeanty might even fall to 13 or 14 in some cases. He might even fall in ADP. I tend to think he's only going to climb in ADP as we get near the months of April and May, and we start seeing the advancements in LV. The moment things start happening, offensive linemen get signed. They draft offensive linemen. They make a move for a wide receiver. They make a trade for a wide receiver. They sign Alec Pierce to stretch the field, and that makes people get excited about the offense. And now all of a sudden, Jeanty's going to have more room to run because Alec Pierce is a field stretcher. These are all factors in his ADP. So the odds are Jahmyr Gibbs probably stays right about where his ADP is. And the odds are Jeanty climbs, doesn't fall. But you never know. People are very fickle. There's a lot of negative Nancys on this Jeanty front because they don't think they're doubling down. They're double down Donnies is what they are. And they have nothing better to do than to say, well, I said this last year, so let's just, pile it on. Those people don't win fantasy leagues. Those people are the ones that they hold on, they don't adjust and adapt, and they end up falling behind. Justin Jefferson, 13.8 ADP. This is unfortunate that he's climbing already, but this is a guy that could go 4, 3, 2 overall. Arguably still, at some point in the near future, could still be the number 1 overall pick in fantasy football drafts. Let's say 2028, 2029, maybe 2027 if things get fixed that quickly. If Mac Jones gets traded over to the Vikings and he's the real deal and JJ starts getting JJ volume, there's a real chance that JJ this year, based on the upcoming fixes that we see happening, expecting to happen, the quarterback situation to change, Jeanty, like Jefferson, they're both players that are likely to see their ADPs climb. This is the time to buy an existing dynasty or draft in dynasty startups, or to draft on Underdog, promo code Smitty, to take advantage of this ADP while you still can. Code Smitty gets it done. The link's in the description of the video. Draft a team right now. There's a $10 big board with a $200,000 going to first place. Try it out. Check it out. The link's in the description. Code Smitty, again, gets it done. try and draft a team with JJ, because in yearly league drafts, he probably won't be at 13, 14, 15 in August. He's probably going to be at 7 or 5 or 4, depending on the quarterback situation, how they solve it. What do we want them to do to solve it? It would probably be Mac Jones number one, on our minds. There's so many other options. We've talked about Kyler. We talked about Tua. We talked about other options. You never know. Maybe Jalen Milroe. Who the hell knows what happens? Merely telling you that Mac Jones is the ultimate land, and there could be some other situation we're not even really thinking of right now that ends up going down that makes JJ just miles ahead of where he is right now in terms of expectation. So love the JJ value, love the Jeanty value, love the Jahmyr Gibbs value. These are all monsters and players so far that I can't stop drafting. Marian Hampton is next on the list at 15.4. I've seen him go as late as 20 in a recent draft that I did on Underdog, promo code Smitty. Again, please check it out if you want to get in on drafts now and take advantage of this information and draft these guys at their ADP while you can. Hampton's just a monster. He deserves. He will, in hindsight, when the season's over and all is said and done, and we're adding up all the data, we're crunching the data. Excel spreadsheets are all over the place, and everybody goes, "Oh my God, this guy should have been a top 5 overall pick." No one's saying to get excited and draft him there. No one's saying, "Hey, Smitty says you could be top 10, top 5. Let's take him at 10 overall because I can't get him at my." No one's saying any of that. That's your fault. You take Hampton inside round 1 because I'm telling you to get excited. That's on you. You take Ashton Jeanty at 4 or 5 overall and blame me. That's on you. You need to package in the risk when the risk needs to be packaged in. And in these cases, in Jeanty and JJ and Hampton, and when we get to Bowers, the key here is taking advantage of the ADP, not trying to circumvent it so you can be disappointed later because you don't have any patience. And you're the type of person that puts shampoo in your hair, and before you even rub it all around your head, you wash it off. You're literally, I'm so impatient. When you put shampoo on my head, it's off. And then you scrub your head and you don't even clean your head. That's if that's you, stop it. Stop drafting Hampton at 5 overall because I'm excited about it. This is the same people that ended up getting burned by taking Hendy at 2.4 when we said take him in the 3rd and 4th round in case something goes awry. And I'm not doing it, Smitty. I'm just going to take him. I don't think he'll fall to me, so I'm just going to take him at 2.2. And then you're mad at me over it. That's your fault. That's your fault. You take this man in the 1st round. That's on you. The upside, the league winning potential is sitting here at 15.4. League winning smash. This guy walks into a Miami Mike, now Malibu Mike offense. Herbert's going to the moon. When we get down to my favorite ADP picks, from 26 to 50, which I'll do a video on that next. Once we start getting into all these different ranges, when we get to Herbert's, wherever Herbert is, he might even be at 60 something. I don't know what Herbert's ADP is at the moment. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. But Herbert, when we get to Herbert's ADP, I'm absolutely drafting tons of Justin Herbert this year because I'll tell you right now, he's going to the moon. Hampton's going to the moon. Lad McConkey's going to the moon. I'm going to have a Hampton, Herbert, and Lad stack. You better believe it. There's going to be so much upside with this situation in 2026 under Malibu Mike. It's going to be off the charts, and we'll hopefully do a draft here soon. I don't know if we're going to draft tonight because the audio is not even working. I don't even know what system. My screens are all jacked up. But if we look at Justin Herbert, he's got a 78.9 ADP, a 78.9 ADP, which means that if we do this in groups of 25, the best 5 picks in the top 25, the best 5 picks in the top 26 to 50, the best 5 picks in the top 51 to 75. We can't even do this till we do the 4th iteration. That's how far Herbert is. He's the 4th video. If we do this in groups of 25, it's crazy. Herbert's going to the moon. Lad's going to the moon. Hampton's going to the moon. Hampton is going to be a version of Achane we haven't seen before. It's not going to be the exact same thing. It's not going to be something where he gets the exact same type of stats or the same exact usage as Achane. He's going to be more along the lines of Mostert mixed with Achane, not just Mostert. Mostert and Achane combined. If you remember back when Mostert was a 20-touchdown running back and a top 5 running back in the National Football League, guys, listen to what I'm saying. Deebo Samuel under the wide back San Francisco Mike McDaniel regime and scheme. This is, I know it's Shanahan's team, but McDaniel had a heavy role in designing and architecting the scheme, the aspect of the scheme that included Deebo Samuel in his wide back role. Deebo was a monster, top 5 monster wide receiver in his wide back role in San Francisco. Then all of a sudden, Mike goes over to Miami, turns Mostert into a top 5 running back, 20 touchdown guy, and a very, very likely to become the next elite player of his in Achane. The next year, Achane explodes and he's a top 5 running back over and over and over. What more do you need to see? Deebo in San Francisco. He moves to Miami. Mostert, then Achane. What do you think's going to happen? It won't be exactly the same, but it's going to be remarkable. And he's going to have some sort of combination of a wide back slash Achane slash Mostert role. And it's going to probably end up being 14 to 15 at least touchdowns total. At least something along the lines of 500 plus receiving, with 14 to 15 total touchdowns, 5 or 6 being receiving. And probably something along the lines of I would guess 1,200, 1,300 yards on the ground. This is going to be we'll call it 12, we'll call it 1,750 total yards, 14 to 15 touchdowns, 60 plus receptions. This is going to be a top 5 locked and loaded season for Hampton, assuming he stays healthy, but you can cuff him to Vidal in whatever situation, if Vidal's even there, or whatever situation they decide to roll with. If Miami Mike decides not to bring back anybody and he ends up drafting Jonah Coleman or let's say an Emmett Johnson or a running back of that caliber, or maybe a speedster, he goes Singleton, you cuff that player to Hampton and you smile and you say, thank you, Mike, may I have another? And you just sit back, you let it happen. Just sit back, relax, let it happen. It'll happen on its own. Okay, and we'll be taking this man to the moon. We'll be taking this man to the moon. We'll be taking this man to the moon, and we'll be taking this man to the moon. And we'll also be taking this man to the moon. And now for the last player to talk about in terms of these ADP values, Brock Bowers at 20 overall. Now, McBride has fallen into the top of round 2, which makes this complicated to a degree in terms of arguing how much better Brock Bowers is over McBride, given the cost of entry. Now, there's still a big spacing between 15 and 20. It doesn't feel like it because it's just a number of 5 guys, but when you're talking about at this stage in the game, only 15 players being selected, that's 1/3 of the entire amount of players that have gone. And that's a big percentage. That's a 33.333% difference in the ADP in terms of where you're looking at these guys. So that's like when you say, oh, Gibbs at 3 can't be a steal. He can, he could, because he should be 1. And you say, well, that's not a far distance, Smitty, but it is. It is, because now your second rounder's higher. Everything, it's just a good spot to take Jahmyr Gibbs. Gibbs should be going 1. If Gibbs goes up 5 or 6, that is league winning. And you can't just say, well, it's still in the first round. It's a big difference. There's a big significant difference in these early ADPs when you're talking 4 and 5 spots. So Brock Bowers is still an ideal pick in round 2, especially given the further you get down in the second, the higher your third rounder is, hugging that pick. And that makes you feel comfortable that you're going to get a Pickens, you're going to get a Nico, you're going to get somebody that if you did go running back up top, you feel confident that you're going to at least get your wide receiver 1 in the Nico or Pickens variety. And if something around there. And if you feel like, okay, I'm going to go wide receiver here, you go JSN or you go whatever, and you go Brock Bowers down here, and then you need your RB, you're comfortable and confident with this Bowers selection that you're going to be able to get a Chase Brown or maybe at least a Breece Hall, but maybe some running back along those lines. So Bowers still is the better player to select by far from the 20 pick versus the 15. And in that range, I'm not saying take Bowers at 13 or 12. Again, that's your fault. if you go out and take Bowers at 12, because you hear me talk about him, I tell you he's going to be the number one tight end this year. I'm telling you the Raiders are going to stretch the field. I'm telling you all these things are going to happen. Brock Bowers he was injured all last year. Part of the way the offensive line went the way that it went was because this man was injured all year long. They had no quarterback play. They had no Brock Bowers. He was injured all year, and they had no offensive line. All of this stuff is getting rectified. Kubiak's coming in, and he's scraped the ground floor. The foundation has been scraped. They're building on top of strong foundation instead of faulty foundation. Bowers is going to the moon. I still prefer Bowers over McBride, but I get it. If they end up going really close later, McBride probably won't fall. I kind of think McBride will climb back up into at least the 12-13 turn. I don't think he's somebody that keeps falling. I think this is about the quarterback situation. This is about the rumors of Kyler being traded and the ambiguity around the quarterback situation and the wild non-Brissett talk. It's like Kyler's going to get traded. Who are they going to go get a quarterback? Am I the only one? I feel like I'm living a bizarro world. Am I the only one that's creating content that is sitting there going, what are we doing? Why are we talking about Aaron Rodgers coming to Arizona? Why are we talking about this and that? Arizona trading for a quarterback. What world do you live in where Brissett hasn't earned the starting job if you're an Arizona Cardinal analyst right now? Or you're talking about Cardinals situations. Who cares if he's a little older? He absolutely balled to the tune of a top 5 NFL and fantasy quarterback. What are people saying? People are out of their mind. And I do have some concern that maybe that's the way the organization might feel and look at it. And I appreciate 420 Man and FDX being in the building. You guys rock. Appreciate you. Again, Marv, appreciate you being here. Marv says, never heard of Rumble until Smitty, we locked in. Appreciate you, Marv. And you're going to love Rumble. Rumble's we're going to be balling. Bowers to me is just a gem. Just a straight up gem, and his ADP is the important part. You take him at 15, that's your own fault. You take him at 12, that's your own fault. You take him at 20, you win a league. That's where it is. These are the guys. These are the best picks in my opinion, ADP wise, in the top 25. And I couldn't be more pleased to be selecting and be a part of drafting these gentlemen. And I'm trying to draft obviously a lot of these guys on the same team where and when I can. And it's just going to be a glorious year in fantasy football, and partly to do because of these guys. And these guys you can trust. Achane situation, I'm not saying don't trust him, but there's ambiguity there. There's no Miami Mike McDaniel, no offense that he's used to. Ewers or worse could be throwing him the ball. There's no Tua, who's horrible at football, but great at fantasy football and checking down to Achane. So Achane's a little bit of a concern. Bijan situation concerns me a little bit, but I still love him. I'm not taking him out of my top 5. We're still Bijan believers, and the biggest Bijan train you will find is this train. But then you start looking at some other things, and it's like, guys, there is some questionable stuff. And these guys feel consistent. They feel like they have good situations. I mean, JJ doesn't yet, but it will. And their values in ADPs will climb. You got to be a part of it now before it ends up getting away from you, and you don't get to enjoy any of it. I don't have any ability to do audio for right now or standing ovation. So Eric, I'm just gonna point at the camera, my man, and say, this is my standing ovation for you, Eric, and I appreciate that super chat. Thoughts on Jahmyr Gibbs or Carter decision? Think it cost us a Super Bowl. Hutch and Carter. I look. If you want to talk about what cost the Lions last year. What cost the Lions if you're talking about last year, like there was no chance that this team was gonna, I think, look, you got a coach that goes for it on 4th down. If you're talking about previous years, a coach that goes for it on 4th down every single time, he out-coaches himself and gets kind of, I think, cramped up and outside of sound decision making when he gets pressed and in tough situations. He's tended to kind of crumble. Last year, you had no offensive coordinator, and I told you it was going to be somewhat disastrous with this in-house Morton situation. I knew it wasn't going to be well. The reason the Lions have struggled is because without Ben Johnson, there's nothing that they can do. There's nothing that they could do until this point. You're hoping Petzing's the answer. I do believe Petzing is the answer, but it's certainly, you can't sit here and look at Campbell and say Campbell's going to win us games. Campbell can be a play caller. That didn't go well. This is certainly going to be a much better upgrade from Morton. Morton was horrible. And I think Petzing's going to dial up a lot. Gibbs is going to win leagues. Gibbs is going to help Detroit. In my opinion, Detroit is going to be, if I had to guess, I would say Detroit is going to be one of the top 3, at least 4 teams from the NFC. I'll get Njoku off. We were talking Njoku on the screen earlier. I believe it's going to be Detroit, LA, Seattle, and the 4th team either going to be Philly. We'll see if Ben Johnson can replicate and add to, or if things fall apart. A lot of times things fall apart for a team that has a big year the next year. It's the way the NFL is right now. NFL, the turnover in coaching and players not being retained, and especially coaching, is crazy. Washington could really surprise people this year. So it could be Philly, it could be Washington. I think it's probably going to be Philly, LA, Detroit, and I'd say Seattle being the top 4 NFC teams. And I think Detroit has a real chance. But if you want to ask why Detroit struggled since Ben Johnson's departed, the answer is they did not have the right offensive coordinator in place. Just like when Philly ends up, when they lost Shane Steichen, they were lost until they fixed that with the proper hire. And I think Petzing's going to be the proper hire. Other than that, bro, I mean, it's, you guys are a good football team, and I don't think anything specifically cost you. You just didn't have the best team. Like, will that be this year? Might be. Could be. I think it could be this year. Definitely going to have a chance to be a top 4 team in the conference. I'll say that. Off-season graveyard crew, Sunday late night Smitty crew. That's where the wild things are. Thank you, Young. Appreciate you dropping that super chat. And then World dropping a $20 hauler. We have no audio. Phone lines will be open right after this. So just pointing at the screen for all you super chatters, because I can't do any. I can do a silent standing ovation, I suppose. Silent standing ovation. We don't have any audio at all. Thank you all for that. Appreciate you guys. Let's see here. I'm taking over a team in a one-man keeper league. Top 2 players are CMC and Cook. I honestly plan on trading either one, but curious which one you think could get me the best return, and what trades would you propose? Really tough thing to suggest trading Christian McCaffrey. I'd have to. Thank you, Pronto. Appreciate you, Joey. I think you're trying to go get Jeanty. You're trying to go get Hampton. You're trying to go get guys like that if you're able to, let's see here, how many is it? It's a one-man keeper. So you can't even keep a second guy. You're going to want to go just move draft picks up, bro. Like, Christian McCaffrey isn't going to get you anything crazy for in terms of like a player. Like, you're not going to get someone like Jahmyr Gibbs to keep. And since you can't keep more than one player, you can't even trade CMC and Cook to somebody that has no keepers but Gibbs, and then get Gibbs to keep, and then keep another guy, because you can only keep one guy. So the thing that CMC is going to get you is you go to a team that has no good keepers, you offer them CMC for their 2nd round pick, or to upgrade your 4th into the 2nd, or to upgrade your 3rd into the 1st, or your 2nd into the 1st. So use CMC and use a team that does not have a keeper, and they will certainly consider surrendering a high pick. Move something massively. Move your 5th rounder to the 2nd round. Move the 4th rounder to the 2nd round. Make a huge move, because you're letting them go for nothing. James Cook, I probably would rather have, I don't know if I'd rather have CMC or James Cook, and you probably get the same response out of, you probably get the same value out of trading Cook or CMC. CMC, I think, he's probably got more value. Christian McCaffrey's going right around, you can see right here, the ADP. The ADP for CMC and redraft, and this really is redraft. There is some long-term keeper value for Cook, more so than CMC after this year, so you got to consider that. But then again, in a one-man keeper, the fact is you'll have another player that will be very competitive to keep, and so I don't really focus too much on the future years. McCaffrey's going 7.5, Cook's going 10.7. I think McCaffrey's going to get hurt. but I think there is a world where you keep CMC and you can make a bigger trade trading him away after the draft is transpired and you're getting a Jeanty for CMC straight up, and then you have that Jeanty keeper value. I guess that's what I would consider. Chat, would you keep Christian McCaffrey in a one-man keeper league that you treat almost like a redraft 2026 draft because you're going to have other options to keep later? One-man keeper, who would you rather keep, CMC or Cook? I'd probably say CMC because it probably gives you more trade potential. And not to mention, I think Cook doesn't have as good of a year to earn this ADP of 10 overall. I think he's really good. I think he's second round, mid second to late second round capable in terms of the return on investment. But I don't think he earns 10 overall value. But I do like Cook a lot. They just don't lean on him fully. They don't throw to him enough. When they throw to him, they don't run him. It's just he's never getting the full Monty, so to speak. So I would lean on CMC, then trade CMC. But this is a tough situation to be in, world. I don't know if Christian McCaffrey is going to have much value. It's kind of up to you. If you think that you'll get into the season and no one will trade for Christian McCaffrey, even though it's kind of a redraft mentality in a one-man keeper, then keep Cook. If you think you're going to have some trade value for CMC, I mean, you could risk the biscuit and try and win with him anyway. I wouldn't even worry if you got stuck with one of them. You get CMC, he probably gets hurt, but maybe he plays like a top 5 monster for 8 games. So I'd probably say this is a pretty even situation. You get a little more keeper value with Cook. You might have a little bit more trade value in Cook if that keeper value, you can keep him again the next year. If there's a limitation on that I don't know about, that could change things. But really, really tough question. Wes, if you want to call in, definitely would love to help you answer your question. Phone lines are open. Dial. So we got no audio. I'll have to turn on the speaker. Probably won't be here too long tonight anyway. We'll do a Dynasty show tomorrow. I got behind on some stuff here, the back end content stuff. So I didn't get to do anything Dynasty today. I had plans to do a Dynasty show. It didn't happen. I apologize. But we'll be after this one. Tomorrow we should have a Dynasty show or upload for sure. So hang tight for that. And then tomorrow, who knows what kind of news comes our way. But Wes, dial in. Is this the OG Wes? He is not the Wes you're thinking of. He is the OG Wes. Worldwide Wes is good people. He's been here for a while. He's the original Wes. The other Wes you're thinking of is not this guy. Phone lines are open. Dial in, and we won't be here, like I said, too much longer today, especially with all the audio and issues that we got going on. But these are the best 5 picks in the top 25. Love to hear your thoughts on them. Love to hear your thoughts on that, especially if Wes wants to call in on that question. You can't really go wrong either way, bro. I think it just comes down to what you believe, and you might not even know, because you might not know these guys very well, what trade value Cook would have over CMC. But even if you couldn't trade CMC away, it backfires on you. Doesn't matter, because it's a redraft in a sense. It's a one-man keeper. You're going to make so many good draft selections based on what we come together and do here on this channel, that you'll have plenty of keeper options. You don't need to worry about CMC being your keeper. In my opinion, I wouldn't worry. Now, am I ultimately trying to get that Jeanty or Gibbs so I have my keeper locked in every year? Yeah, I am. So I would be very, very excited to change and move CMC and Cook, one of those guys into a Gibbs or whatever, but it's going to be hard to do given that it's only a one-man keeper. If it was a two-man keeper, you could easily flip those two guys. Yeah, dial in, and we will tackle whatever you want. Hopefully the phone line will work. I'm pretty sure it will because it sounds like I've got audio on the phone lines, just nothing's coming through. Hard to explain, but I think this will fix it, and we'll at least be able to take a couple phone calls. But if not, then no worries. We'll reconvene. Let me go over to Rumble real quick and just see what my Rumblers are saying. I've got a full house over there popping in and out. Fox says take CMC. Appreciate you. Smitty says 420 man. 420 man. Appreciate you, and thank you for the messages. All right, Bruce, you're live. Hello.
Hey, hey, Tony.
Hey, Bruce.
Hey, I liked it. Just think
Huh?
Saint Brown. He's. I like Saint Brown. He's in my top 25.
Oh, okay.
Like his value,
Yeah, he's always
but
top. He's always the top four wide receiver. It seems right. He's going at 9, so
yeah,
can't blame you.
yeah. I think the biggest deal that you were talking about was Hampton. So my question is this: uh, I know I watched all the videos on him. Bucky, where does he rank on your steals?
Mm, Bucky is going to certainly be in the next. I'm going to do this per 25. So best 5 ADPs inside the top 25, best 5 ADPs inside the top 26 to 50, and so on and so on and so on. And Bucky will most certainly be in that next group. Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember you were saying the OC that Coach Bijan went
Yep.
there with Bucky, and I was like,
Yep.
man, if Bucky stays healthy, I was like,
Yep.
in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, he's 1 to 3.
Yeah. Zach Robinson, comparing him, people can get all upset about what it means to compare somebody to Bijan and be like, oh, you can't do that. The greater point here is that he's trying to tell people that his Bijan is now Bucky, whether it's a watered down version in many people's eyes, whatever. But he's trying to tell you that I'm going to utilize Bucky like I utilize Bijan. And if people can't focus on the right part of that statement, that's on them. Bucky's going to get massively used. And everybody trying to say, well, look what he did in Algier. He gave Algier goal line carries. Sean Tucker is going to take away. It's look, Bijan had 800 receiving yards and 11 total touchdowns and 1,400 rushing yards. Are we really complaining? Did Bijan get worked to the max that you really wanted him to get worked to? Yes, he was the number one overall player. Like what are we talking about here? You know, and on top of that, it's like Baker Mayfield's. As much as I do love the idea of Penix Jr. healthy and getting versed and the offense and maturing and getting better and better and better. And I hope that that all does come true, especially for London and Bijan owners. Baker's twice the quarterback he is, 3 times the quarterback he is. So Bucky's going to be inherently in better situations to score touchdowns from the 7, the 5, the 3. It doesn't have to be goal. The goal line carries. There's only so many goal line carries that are going to be taken from somebody. How many times are you going to be on the 1, the 2, the 3 yard line? There's going to be so many times Bucky's in there on the 5, at the 7 yard line, at the 10 yard line, inside the red zone. Bucky's not coming out when they get in the red zone and they're just going to play Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker or whatever running back they decide to use as their goal line guy, he might take some stuff, but Bucky's going to get so much run and the double-digit touchdowns are in the cards. Like people are focusing on the wrong stuff. They heard somebody say it. Oh, but you look at Zach Robinson and he's the one that took Bijan out at the goal line. Like these people are just repeating what they hear. It's a totally different situation and it doesn't even matter. Like, are you really gonna? Who complains about 800 receiving yards, 1,400 rushing, and 11 touchdowns for a single player? Who has the ability to come in here and have a negative thing to say about the usage of Bijan Robinson? You out of your mind? It's insane.
Now, May, he was my number 1 overall pick last year.
Yeah. All right. Anything
um,
else, Bruce?
yeah, I got one more question. Um, where the people rank the people like the top 25 in this? Do you think there's a reason why they'll say? Do you think they go by position and be like, no, we need this guy because he's at this position. We need
Huh? I don't
this
know
guy
what
at
you're saying.
that
Say
position.
it again. I have no idea what you mean.
Like, let's take Bijan. He's the
Uh-huh.
number 1 overall, but he's a running back. Do you need to then go to Puka, or do they go by like total scoring, not by position?
I don't know who you're talking about. What do you mean? Do they go by? Who go by what?
The remember you had the 1 through 25. Did they go by? Would they go by position, like the analyst, or would they just go by?
But I don't know what you're
This
at.
is it.
Who go by this ADP?
Yeah.
Well, the ADP is based on drafters, Bruce. It's based on you, me, all of us drafting. This is the ADP, average draft position. This means that when you go into a draft, Bijan's getting taken 1 overall. The average draft position out of, I don't know if it's been like 10,000, 20,000, 40,000 drafts so far. Like 40,000 drafts have gone down and Bijan has gone 1.1, like on average. That's what it is. This has nothing to do with any other content creator or analyst. This is the people. This is ADP. So Puka is getting taken second. Jahmyr Gibbs is getting taken third. Jamar Chase fourth, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
How all that is done, how they do. Oh, this is one. Oh, like, wait a minute. They flip flop and move people.
What else you got, Bruce? Well, boy.
how scared are you of
I don't get scared, Bruce.
Up
I don't get scared, Bruce. But go ahead.
when people? How annoyed do you get when people get moved up too high?
There you go.
And you can't take them. You're like if JJ gets moved to the top 5 again. Let's just say they sign Rodgers, because I keep thinking of Rodgers for some reason.
I do get annoyed a lot, that's for sure. So how annoyed do I get when players are out of? So you asking me how annoyed am I going to get when JJ returns to normalcy and gets drafted 3, 4, 5 overall? Is that what you're saying? I get annoyed, but I also am very grateful that we all have a particular. This is why I do what I do. This is probably the most fun part about what I do. Is say, hey, Jeanty won't be at 13 or 14 overall for long. Let's go do work. Bowers isn't going to be at 20 to 24 for long. Let's go do work. Hampton, you're not going to be able to get Hampton in that mid second round for very long. Let's go get him. JJ, how many people are going to benefit from JJ's low value now and then he rises? I do get annoyed that I can't partake in what we know to be true in August yearly league home league drafts. I can definitely understand what you're trying to say there, and that is true. I'm kind of mad we can't, across the board get to take advantage of this stuff, but damn if I'm not excited, Bruce, that we're going to have plenty of opportunity, at least in best ball, to have these monsters right here. Bucky is another one. Breece Hall is another one. Breece Hall and Bucky are two of the, and if we go to the reason these Marsmen, Sattermen, look at this board. Hampton, JJ, their ADPs will rise. Look at this board here. Hall, Bucky, Tyson, their ADPs will rise. Look at this board right here. Fannin and Warren. Warren's ADP will rise. Jeanty's ADP loves Josh Allen, Bowers. Their ADPs will rise. To make the Moonmen, Marsmen, Saturnmen, Jupitermen, to make these boards, you got to be a player that is doing work at the current ADP. That is kind of the point of the board. Is these guys are going to the moon. They're going to Jupiter. They're going to Mars. They're going to Saturn at their cost of entry. I'm not just going to put, somebody up on the board when they don't, like Bijan, like putting Bijan on the board. We've done it before, but it's not helpful. Sometimes we do it because at a tribute. We were first on Bijan. We were first on Gibbs. We were first on Achan. We were first on JSN. We were first on all these guys. So it does sometimes out of tribute, we'll go ahead and cross that line and go, let's just throw Bijan on there. Because we were there when it was wild to put him on the board.
And we were first on Kenneth Walker.
That's fact. That's 100% fact. That's how the boards were created. I will tell you though that I'm not as on top of the Kenneth Walker. Like I love Kenneth Walker, I do, and I'm very very intrigued as to where his ADP is going to level. Once he get I'm definitely drafting him a little bit now, but once he gets re-signed or he gets signed by the Seahawks and they bring him back, and he will. I'm almost positive. I don't know where his ADP is going to climb. And, Sharps will be back at some point. Kubiak's gone. Not saying Seattle just falls apart, but we've seen it time and time again. You lose OCs, teams, win a Super Bowl, go to the Super Bowl the next year, they don't even make the playoffs, or who knows what can happen, but I do believe that Kenneth Walker is somebody like, look at, even though he did break off that like 40-yard touchdown, right? You gotta think of that. You gotta talk about it, right? Because it happened. It kind of happened. Some say Vegas called. But at the end of the day, he didn't have anything but 120. So he got you like 12 points. Sometimes Walker does that. Walker he's a monster all game, and then Charbonnet has a touchdown at 40 yards, and he outscores Walker, who was doing work all game long. But then Walker ends up with 100 yards, and you get 10 points out of it. That's like how some of Derrick Henry's games were last year. Even though Derrick Henry had some huge games that really put him on the map to be, worth his ADP at the end of the day, there are a lot of games where Henry would have 115 yards rushing, look great, and he got you 11 points. Like, what? So that's my only concern about Walker. Walker, love him as a player, love him as a person, but he's a little tough to I think bank your entire season on if the cost of entry gets too high. All right, Bruce, hold on. Mute yourself real quickly. Let me go to New Age Outlaw. New Age, you're live.
Hey, I was just wondering, out of 100 best ball drafts, I finally drafted Judkins once because he dropped to the 6th round. But what's a real kind of safe area now for him? Do you think to draft him? I'm kind of lost on him.
Yeah, I'm not really going near Judkins right now, but you're right. There will be a time where I've got to decide, you know. But what I like to do more so than that, my boy, is look at the running back and wide receiver rankings at and around his ADP. And when I sit here and I look at it and I see Kyron Williams at 33 overall, Travis Etienne at 36 overall, Cam Scattaboo 43, Henderson 46, Harvey 49, Judkins around 50 to 53, Javante after him, Swift after him, Stevenson after him, Tootin after him, Monangai. It does feel like it's not completely out of place. Um, but I think that like it doesn't feel like a steal to me. Like, do I still like Tootin the cost of entry at 77 better than I love the cost of entry at Judkins at 53? The answer is hell yes. And then you ask yourself, okay, well at 53, if I don't love the running backs, but I kind of like Tootin right there, the next round or two, what wide receiver is around Judkins ADP? And that would be Igbuka. That would be Terry McLaurin. That would be Carnell Tate or maybe Jordan Tyson or potentially Luther Burden. Or if we go to the tight ends at 49.50 overall, you're talking about a player like Tyler Warren's going in the 60s. Colston Loveland's going 42, so that's a little early. Fannon's going 73. You know what I mean? So for me, I'd rather Fannin or Tyler Warren or my quarterback like Joe Burrow or something than to go Judkins at 50 overall. Look at the quarterbacks at 50. 46 is Lamar, so let's say he's out of sight. Drake May, JD5, Joe Burrow, or Jalen Hurts. Give me one of those guys over Judkins and go take Tootin later. Or take a running back earlier and don't take Judkins. Judkins will be on none of my teams because he's coming back from a brutal injury. They don't throw him the football, and who knows what in the hell's in store for that team this year.
Yeah, I got you. No, it felt like I was forcing it, and Monangai was gone, and I was like, all right,
Monangai was gone.
Monangai
was gone because Judkins is ADP.
Monangai.
Wow, Monangai's ADP is 85, bro.
Oh, then it was way after. I was right at the beginning of a round, so maybe
because that doesn't compute because and I don't know what. Let's see, Judkins' ADP is 53. Monangai is 85. Like that's a crazy difference.
Okay.
But
okay, that was the only time I felt halfway like, all right, I'll take the chance. And I'll
so you're telling me Monungai win in the 50s, or did Judkins go fall to the 80s? Which one was it? Because if Judkins fell to the 80s,
Judkins fell to the 80s.
That's wild. But even then,
yeah, it was out.
Yeah, I don't mind that then. I don't mind that then if you did it at that value, sure. But I will ask you, do you like Alec Pierce better than Judkins? I kind of do. I do. Do I love
50-50 on that.
I like Parker Washington. He's in the 75 range. I'd take him over Judkins in a heartbeat. I'd probably take Travis Hunter over Judkins, to be honest. And he's going a lot later though.
Well, not anymore. You're talking about as soon as you posted that stuff. Holy cow! People are taking them way early now.
Maybe
jump like 3-4 rounds.
We'll see. I kind of think people are gonna let him fall. Let's see where his ADP goes, but his ADP shouldn't go up. I'm only one man. There are a lot of people that are so hell bent against Hunter. They have been from the beginning, and now they're just saying, "Oh, he's a full-time DB. He's never going to play receiver again." That's getting loud. Those people are very loud. I think you're gonna have an easy time getting Hunter. I think Hunter's got an 80.
It was 90%, and all of a sudden now I can't get them for free all the time.
I think you will. I think you will. His ADP is his ADP. There's nothing you can really fudge about ADP. I mean, that's off thousands and thousands of drafts. Travis Hunter's ADP is 143. So you must have had a weird draft. I mean, if you're telling me Quinshon Judkins went he's going at 50, if he went in the 80s, that was just a weird draft, bro. Or was not on a platform I've ever heard of. So 143 is Travis Hunter's ADP. I mean, that is free territory. That is literally, you're getting him as your wide receiver 5 or 6 or 7. So you should be able to continue to do that. Nothing's moved on it. It might even get worse.
What's the highest you would take him?
Hunter?
You think?
Travis Hunter?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I'm not going to take him where I don't have to. That's for sure. When people do that, I get so that gets me upset. You know, when people are like, Smitty, I didn't have a pick that could take him, so I took him 5 rounds early. Like that pisses me off. 143, we're talking about like the 13th round. So would I take him in the 12th round? Because that's the earliest you'd have to take him. We're talking about maybe the beginning of 12. You're talking about 134 overall. So if he's your 12th drafted player instead of where his ADP lives is as your 13th drafted player, I'm fine with the 12th. I mean, if you had to go the 11th, these double-digit round player, you really complaining about that? I mean, that's Katron Allen, who I like, Kayshon Boutte, Fernando Mendoza, Brandon Ayuk, James Conner, Jawan Johnson, Cam Ward. Like, if you take Travis Hunter in that 12th round, anywhere in the 12th round, there's not a single person that should be complaining about that. That's fine value.
Would you take, last question I'll be out, would you take Travis Hunter over Dobbs?
You shouldn't have to.
That's my one I struggle.
You shouldn't have to. Let me see where Dobbs' ADP is. Dobbs' ADP.
Like I say, he's been jumping though, man.
Yeah, but you can't use one. Like, let me see what the ADP is on Dobbs. Dobbs' ADP. Yeah, I also like Coker. Coker's another player that I freaking love this year. He's going 116 to 130. Great value. Dobbs is going, where is he at? Oh, Dobby. 140. So that's right at the same territory. Okay. I'd rotate that. I'd probably lean toward Dobbs over Hunter in redraft, and I clearly lean toward Hunter in Dynasty, but I think that Dobbs is going to get a nice landing spot, which is going to increase his value tremendously. So that's why I take advantage of Dobbs drafting now. If you're in that spot, I just rotate it though. I like him about the same, but because I think the ADP of Hunter is going to fall in the coming weeks and months versus, increase, because people are just talking smack about it right now. Oh, he's trash. He's never going to play receiver again. It's a growing loud effort. with people already hell-bent against him anyway. So it's just a lot of loud people. But Dobbs, as soon as Dobbs, who is one of the better free agent wide receivers, as soon as Dobbs finds himself a home, and he certainly will, like let's say the Raiders or the Commanders, I mean he's gonna go up in value quite a bit. So get your Dobbs on now while you can.
All right. I'll dob it out.
Dob it out. All right. Later. Appreciate you, New Age.
All right, bro.
Bruce, final thoughts.
It was a good show, good,
Thank you, Bruce.
Good top 25. My question for you is this. I was watching Mike Tannenbaum. I think it was either Get Up or First Take, one of them, I forget. But he said if he was the Raiders, he would draft Mendoza, but then start Geno and have the sit process. What are your thoughts on the sit process?
Bruce, I haven't hung up on you ever. I don't think I've ever hung up on you. But you're going to get hung up on. I don't have any sound effects for it, so let me just yell at you right now and go, you are not safe, Bruce. Bruce, that's the most offensive thing you've ever asked on this channel right now. I hope you don't take offense to this, but Bruce, you have been christened. You have been hung up on. Should you start Geno? Let me just tell you something, Bruce. And Bruce, I love you. You know I love you, pal. Anybody that says that the team should even keep Geno it's a disgusting take. That's a disgusting take. Anybody that says Geno should start and you should sit Mendoza, they don't know ball at all. I don't care who it is. And don't tell me, oh, he played ball. You think you know more ball than I don't care what anybody says about anybody that played ball and didn't play ball. Michael Jordan was the best basketball player ever and that ever will be. And he was horrible at scouting. He didn't know. You trust me. And I'm good at fantasy basketball prospecting. Let me tell you, I was better at fantasy basketball analysis than I was football, but there wasn't a market for it. So I went into football more. And I mean, obviously the basketball, I identified Iverson. I identified all that back in the day. Steve Nash. I could definitely scout basketball like crazy. That was my sport growing up. But anybody that says Geno Smith should even be in the league, that's a disgusting take, and they don't know ball. You tell them I told you that. You tell them I told them so. You tell them they don't even deserve to be in front of a camera or a mic if they're giving advice like you should start Geno and sit Mendoza. You don't sit Mendoza. I don't believe in the sitting mentality. That anybody that says you sit a rookie quarterback, they don't even know what league they're watching anymore. It's not today's NFL. It's not the same thing anymore. They go straight in. It's ridiculous. Geno. Bruce, I appreciate you, though, but that was one of the craziest things you've ever said. I'm out of here. Appreciate every single one of you. I'm live Monday through Friday. Oh, hold on, Rockout. Rockout, you always call right when I'm leaving. You got 20 seconds, my boy. Hit me with it. You're live.
It's going to take Tyreek Hill this year with all those injuries.
I mean, his ADP is awful. He's in 150s. So, I mean, the fact that he's even going there is kind of wild. But I don't know. I've drafted him once, and I didn't like it. I felt ashamed of myself. And I took a cold shower after. I tried to get my senses after, and I just couldn't sleep that whole night. Like, what was I doing? I might have screwed. What if I could have won the 200,000 big board first place if I just drafted another? If I would have just got, let's say I grabbed Jerry Jeudy, and something happens, and Jerry Jeudy ends up getting fed or something in the right situation, and I drafted Tyreek Hill. What in the hell was wrong with me? Tyreek Hill. I mean, in all seriousness, Rockout, there's a chance I'd take him at the very end of a draft, but I'm certainly not liking his ADP. Travis Hunter is right above him. I'd take Hunter every time. I'd take Romeo Dobbs every time. In the situation that I was in, they were both gone. But looking at it now, I still would rather have Tesla over Tyreek Hill, most likely. But I think there's a world where it makes sense if he, was one of the last picks or something. Somebody you could cut. If we're talking about best ball, though, what if he doesn't play? What if he decides he can't actually cut it and he doesn't play and you wasted your pick? So, I mean, I don't know. Best ball, it seems like a reckless thing to do right now. If you can wait until August, you know what's up. And he's like one of your double-digit round picks, maybe. Anything else?
And you think likely if he went to Washington.
Likely if he went to Washington. Yeah, I like him there in New England. There's a lot of chatter today that he liked a post. Isaiah Likely liked a post where somebody said come to New England. That'd be great. Any one of those landing spots. Husseini says Mahomes sitting a year was good. Maybe it was good, but Husseini, just because it worked doesn't mean it has any evidence that he should have sat. He could have been. What if he was just as good? What if he was better? What if he was further along? There's no evidence to suggest sitting helped him. Also, that was a long time ago as a different NFL. That's kind of my point. The NFL is different now. Sitting is ridiculous. I mean, the only reason you would sit, like in the case of Arizona, they draft like a Simpson or something a little bit late, but you draft number 1 or number 2 or number 3 or 4 or 5 overall, and you're drafting a quarterback, that quarterback better start. You know, if you're taking that investment and you're talking about the college game translating so quickly to the NFL now, Mahomes, that was ages ago. That was when it was a totally different league. And even wide receivers, if you remember back like Larry Fitzgerald days, you were a wide receiver. You were not getting more than 700 yards and 4 touchdowns as a wide receiver. It didn't translate. Now wide receivers as rookies can be top 5 guys. They can be number 4 overall like BTJ was. Quarterback can be a top 5 or 6 quarterback. Rookie quarterback could technically take a team to like the Super Bowl. You know, that's the kind of world we live in today. It's a completely different world. All right, rock out. Last thing, and then I got to go.
I'll see you later.
Rock out. Thanks, pal. Appreciate you. All right. Is Kamara even worthwhile this year? Not really. I mean, I've taken him in the best ball late. Like, where's his ADP? His ADP is right around, it's pretty ridiculously cheap. Like 150 to 160. So you're talking about running back. What is that? Running back 45. I mean, you start running out of names. And then you're like, okay, what if Kamara in best ball? In non-best ball, I wouldn't take him. You can't hold him at all. But in non-best ball or in best ball, there is a world where he has 4 games that he does something, you know? And that's sometimes enough in the 150s, 170s, 160s in best ball. So best ball, very different monster for someone like Kamara. Guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate every single one of you. Thank you, Rumble. My Rumblers over there, we're growing on Rumble like crazy. We're almost at 4K on Rumble. It's blowing up over there. Be a part of the movement. YouTube link to the YouTube channels in the description of the Rumble show right now that you're watching. And then those of you watching on YouTube, the Rumble link is in the description. Please subscribe to the Rumble channel. Don't miss out. When we get to 10K on Rumble, we're almost at 4. When we get to 10K, we're doing a Rumble show, baby. See you all tomorrow. I'm live. Well, actually, hold on. Get on over to the Patreon. That link is in the description of the video. And that is a 24/7, 365 live chat group. Get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com, which is my year-round rankings, bold predictions, trade calculators. I've already got 6 bold predictions up already. The rankings are 365, 24/7. All the rookies are included. And I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Live whenever big news breaks, and live additionally at midnight, like tonight, almost every night. Off season is a little sporadic sometimes, but pretty much try to get online every single night at midnight. That is how we do it. It's how Dad did it. It's how America does it. It's worked out pretty good so far. See you all tomorrow. Probably live at some point for some breaking news, and then additionally live at 8 p.m. and then additionally live at midnight. See you all tomorrow.